Championship football returns to Home Park for the first time since 2010, and there couldn't be a more different buzz about the place for this one. Randall across goal! Yes! Has bundled it in! He's back with a bang, and Argyle have lift-up! The pace and the directness and runs towards the penalty area. Still going! Brilliant! Oh, Argyle! What a goal! Into the area, can he get a shot away? Oh, what a goal! Caretaker delivers nothing. It's a great ball through and in! And that is exactly what Argyle were after! 3-3!
It has all come down to this then. One game to secure their championship status. Argyle's return to the second tier has certainly been eventful, and their destiny is just a couple of hours away. Win and they stay up. It is as simple as that. Home Park, as it has been all season long, is sold out for this one here today. One last push is all that is needed. Argyle fans, both young and old, hoping beyond hope that the players can do them proud. And of course it is all about to unfold in front of us live here on Argyle TV. Hello, good morning Argyle fans. My name is Alex Wood and welcome to our build-up here on Argyle TV today. It doesn't get much bigger than this, does it? After 45 matches this season, Argyle lie 21st in the table on 48 points accumulated. Now with just 3 more on the board come 2:30, you can bet there'll be huge celebrations on this pitch behind us this afternoon. However, there is a lot to happen between now and then, not least Hull City standing in our way today. And of course, this game means something to them too. If they win, and they need to, they may well secure a place in the playoffs. Lots of permutations, a word we come to know well when it comes to the business end of the season. Lots of twists and turns, you can be sure of that. And covering it all between now and around 2:30 this afternoon, we will be live here on Argyle TV and you will not want to miss it. Match passes are now available to buy online from just £10 for this afternoon, wherever you are watching us live here this afternoon. So, between now and kickoff, what can we expect? Well, we will be joined by Argyle chairman Simon Hallett live for a pre-match discussion. We'll also be hearing from Caretaker boss Neil Dewsnip and Kevin Nanskiville on how they've been preparing for today's fixture. The atmosphere building nicely, and alongside me to bring some calm amidst all of the action and drama, former Pilgrims defender Mark Edworthy. Mark, welcome to the pre-match show. How are you?
I'm very good, Alex. Excited. I know there's a lot of emotions attached to this game, and rightly so. It is the last game of the season, but so much to play for. Obviously, Hull come here, really good team, looking to secure that playoff position, so they have to win this afternoon. And likewise, the destiny's in Argyle's hands. If they win today, they secure their championship status. So the pitch is looking great, the sun's shining, it's going to be a full crowd. I wish I was not in this attire and I was out there playing myself, but I'm looking forward to a great afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we can bring the fans some team news first and foremost this afternoon to show you how the two sides will be lining up for this one then. Kick-off, as I say, at 12:30. Let's take a look, as ever, at the Argyle team. And as you can see, draw attention to two changes from their last result. A defeat, of course, on the road against Millwall. Hardy recalled to the starting lineup, as is Alfie Devine. And instead, they replace, of course, Galloway, who drops out, and Ben Waine. A couple of talking points as well. Whittaker's 50th appearance of the season. And only Mike Cooper in the starting lineup was part of the team the last time Argyle were relegated, but we won't dwell on that too much. Mark, first things first, looking at that team today, it is an attacking side for Neil Jusnip and Kevin Anscoville.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think that is the intent. If you try to sit back and hope for a draw, sometimes it backfires, Alex. You've got to go with the intent and win the game, and I think with that attacking lineup, let's say Bundy, Whittaker and Hardy, possibly playing as a front three, I think they should. Put Bundy in the middle, and obviously with Whittaker and Hardy getting in behind them, it's a real threat because we know Hull will come here and they're also very attacking as well. So I expect Ghost to be in the game this afternoon. So even Devine back in the side, maybe Randall might be sitting to allow Devine to push forward and create that, assist from midfield. So it's a very attacking lineup.
Yeah. Absolutely, and of course a couple of more talking points really regarding that lineup. Alfie Devine back in, as I say, it will be his final appearance for the Greens, as it will be for other loanees, Ashley Phillips and Sousa as well, of course not played as much, but you mentioned it, this is a game where we really have to make a strong start, don't we, on this whole side? We
really have to, Alex, because the destiny's in our hands. If it is the other way, I'd be worrying, but if we win the game, we secure our championship. So you can't rely on the results; it's too risky. We got ourselves in the position. I must admit, during the season, I didn't think we'd be in this position. But the table doesn't lie. After 46 games, we're going to get it judged, and hopefully with 3 points this afternoon, we'll secure our status.
Absolutely. And a quick word on Whittaker as well. Look, he had such an impressive start to the season, didn't he? He's going to be making his 50th appearance today. If he does score, which of course we all hope he would, 20 league goals for the season. That's a great return for a player that we only brought in permanently last year. What can you expect from him? His form's been patchy in recent games.
Yeah, I think he's been frustrated with his form. Here at home park, he gets bums off seats. He really does. He's been magnificent. He is very much a confidence player. To score 20 goals in the season in any league is a fantastic return. He needs to get that, I think, because all of a sudden that might put a few million back on his price tag. But also approaching that 50th appearance as well. Great return. I really hope he does well today because he has had a good season and he's been frustrated with his form as late. But good players rise in big games.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was some suggestion as well among the fan base. Hardy, who didn't start last week, perhaps he might be more effective coming off the bench. He does start today. And again, what sort of danger does he pose any backline in this league?
I think those two, when they play together, when Shuey here, even in at times when Foster was here, they're such a threat. For some reason, they lost a bit of confidence, and obviously results dictate that. But we've seen during the season what they can do. And it'd be great if we could repeat that this afternoon.
Yeah, it's one last push.
It really is.
It's one last push for these players.
It really is, Alex, and they really are a dangerous partnership. And obviously with Bundy up there as well, they're a real threat this afternoon.
Absolutely. Well, look, we can also bring you the Hull City team news this afternoon. Of course, their last game out, a 3-3 draw, an entertaining draw with high-flying Ipswich. Today, though, one change for the Tigers. Liam Delap comes in, Omer drops out. But there's a whole roster of players in this squad that we can pick out and highlight from an attacking point of view. Not least the on-loan Liverpool player Carvalho. Philogene has obviously had an impressive season. Delap himself, a striker of real pedigree. It's almost too many players for me to single out, but why should we be wary of this particular team coming here today?
Well, I think what it is, Alex, Liam Senior is really ambitious. He's a good young manager, and they score goals. 14 goals in the last 6 games says everything. Philogene, as you said, he's their top scorer. Liam Delap, I know his dad really well, Rory Delap, and he's a talented young player, and their away record is so good. And I think what they know, they've got to come here and win. That's the difference. It's not like an end of season finale and everybody's going to be walking around and celebrating the sunshine. This is really business this afternoon, and they've already stated they've got to come here and win the game, and they'll be prepped and ready. And we've got to make sure we expect that from them.
Yeah, I mean, but to what extent can that dynamic suit an Argyle team this afternoon? The fact that they do have to approach this game with some attacking intent, it could open up some space, right?
It could do. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, and it's a case of who holds your nerves. I think you've got to strip the emotion out of it. Forget about other results. It's what happens here today at home park for both teams. You can't rely on other results because I think it's completely out of your hands. So Hull will come with the intent to win the game, simple as that. So if Argyle are not ready for that, they've got to. I'm sure they've prepared well, and Kevin Neal has prepped them all week. But this is such a big game, and I think what you've got to look at it is, don't give them any opportunity. There's a time and place to play, especially up from the back and build from the back. I know we like to play and build from the back, but don't give them any opportunities.
So you would your advice really, if you were there in that dressing room today, if you were out on that pitch with those players, be sensible, play simple, nothing too elaborate, and try and make a steady start to the game, if nothing else, and contain the chances.
I think it is. I think it will be fast and furious, but you know they're going to have possession and time on the ball, so we've got to react to that.
Absolutely. Well, look, Argyle have been here before, and I can tell you that for a fact, because just 5 years ago, of course, Argyle were in a similar crunch battle at the bottom end of League One. Now, it didn't work out on that particular day 5 years ago, when a certain Kevin Nanskeville was at the helm in the dugout, as Argyle was sadly relegated. We'll hope for better fortune here today, but of course he and Neil Dewsnip know what is at stake.
Excited. There's a little bit of nerves there. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. But confident, excited, just ready to go.
For you, Neil, what do you make of the position we're in going into this last game?
Well, first of all, the aim of the whole season from minute one has been stay in the Championship. So I know it's got pretty close to the last game. Obviously, it has. But we've got a chance of staying in the Championship. We've not been in the relegation places, I don't believe, all season. And our goal on Saturday is to make sure that we're still not. The best way of doing that is to prepare well and to win the game. If we win the game Saturday, nothing else matters. So that's what we'll be trying to do.
Yeah. There's obviously a lot of kind of noise around the game, Nance, a lot of people talking about ifs, what happens if this, what happens if that. How do you try and block all of that out, if indeed you do?
I don't think you can block out completely because everyone's aware of all the scenarios that need to happen. But we have to try to and just concentrate on what we're doing. We're busy enough trying to prepare the team for our game. So we'll continue to do that. And if we look after our own business and do the job as we want, then everything else is irrelevant.
This is an obvious question, but I think it's probably one I need to ask. You've been in this position before with Argyle. Footballers are in this position throughout their careers, obviously. How much is that dressing room not wanting a relegation this season?
You probably can't put it into words. One of the worst things for a footballer is to have that on your CV. So to go through everything that we've gone through this season and to not be successful in our aim of staying in the league would be devastating for everybody. So they're desperate, they're aware of the situation, but they're also really focused, and it's just not an emotional charge. It's going to be a little bit more calculated, but they're desperately keen to stay us in the Championship, and I'm sure we will.
How do you feel, Neil, that gets achieved against a Hull side who themselves have the possibility of getting into the playoffs?
Yeah, that's right. So our preparation has got to be absolutely spot on, and come 12:30 on Saturday, hopefully we'll be absolutely ready to achieve that goal of winning the game.
Just to end on, I don't expect you to give away any sort of team talk, but what do you feel your message will be? Start with you, Nance, to the players just before they sort of take to the field on Saturday.
There'll probably be 2 points to it. One will be stick to the game plan that Neil's alluded to already, so to make sure we do as we say we want to do. And then just to make sure that you play with pride and passion for everybody who's supporting us, because we owe them that. The players are aware of that, so you have to have a tactical nous about you as well, but you have to play with your heart, and we have to run harder and jump harder than any of our opponents, and I'm sure the lads will be ready to do that for us.
Because of course, Neil, the crowd will be there on Saturday like they have the entire season. They'll be in position. The players then need to, I suppose, match it. I suppose
The crowd will be amazing. I'm sure. If it's anything like Leicester City, I wouldn't like to be playing against us. So that's really important that we all stick together And you know, there might be times in the game when it's very difficult. We'll need them even more. Hopefully there's more times when they can enjoy and scream even louder. But our players and us, the staff, we all need to be brave. We can't be fearful of our situation on Saturday. It needs bravery, it needs commitment, and it needs a lot of intelligence as well.
And there you go. And that was Neil speaking about bravery, Mark. How can Argyle today, maybe look to put the last two results on the road just behind them, focus on the here and now, and be brave on the ball in footballing terms? It's interesting your use of that particular word. What does it really mean?
Yeah, I think what it is, it's just get on the ball. I'm pretty sure they would have looked at the season as a whole this week. Look at all those really positive bits. Look at what's got us in this position. Look what's got us in the Championship. You haven't turned into bad players overnight. There's been a few unfortunate results, but when they mean be brave on the mic, when the opportunity presents itself, take it. Don't take any risks. Don't shy away from the ball. Look like you want the ball, and the crowd will know if the team are a bit nervous. Fans know. They come here week in, week out and pay their money. So I think that's what Neil means. Be brave on the ball. Go and want the ball. Be positive. Be confident. That's what bravery means, really. And take the game to Hull City.
Absolutely. We were just chatting, of course, you're a player or former player who's been in this exact scenario. In fact, you've played in games at both ends of the table when it comes down to that final day. Can you sort of sum up, the emotions for the players and what this really looks like? I mean, I was looking at the programme notes. Some describe it as a sort of a cup final with permutations attached.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, I've been very fortunate, Alex. I've won this league. I've won in League One, and I've been promotion. So I know what Hull are going through for a start to get into the playoffs. That last game of the season, trying to get into the playoffs, and then hopefully get into the Premiership. And also, I've been at Premier League clubs where we've been fighting for relegation. So, real mixed emotions that is. And I think if you're winning games, it becomes easy. The training ground banter's great. Everybody's smiling. Things come easy and natural for you. When results are going against you and you're at the wrong end of the table, you almost doubt creeps in. It's very hard not to, but you do doubt yourself. And then obviously the dressing room, you can see the atmosphere change. And it really is sticking together and believing in yourself. So that's exactly what's got to happen this afternoon. They've got to believe in themselves. They've got to trust themselves. Because over the season, they've proved here, especially at home park, there's been some wonderful games, really, and we've got to repeat that today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you make that comment there. I mean, in terms of looking back on the season, we can think back even just a couple of weeks, can't we, to the Leicester game? That was huge for us.
Massive.
So you think about, we faced Norwich here early in the year when they were high flying, and we beat them 6-2. I mean, just thinking about some of your highlights, Mark, from this season. What have been your sort of standout moments, particularly at home?
I think some home games here. I've been excited myself. The Norwich game, what an amazing game. The Leicester game, amazing game. The Coventry game, I know it was a draw, but incredible games here, and they've got to repeat that today. So I think if I was a manager and I was in that dressing room, I would have shown them highlights this week and say, look what we are capable of doing, guys. This is what we've done throughout the season here at home park. Can we do it one more time?
Absolutely. Well, let's just get a quick look, shall we, at the table, how things stand at this moment in time. Of course, it may well all change by the end of this game here this afternoon. Everyone in the Championship kicking off at the same time. And as you can see there, Argyle sitting where they are on 48 points, still so tight at the bottom. Birmingham make up the bottom three. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on their particular game this afternoon at home to Norwich, and Sheffield Wednesday 2 points ahead of Argyle as well. But I mean, this has been almost unusual, unprecedented how tight the bottom end of the season has been. What have you made of that in particular?
That's incredible, really. I didn't expect Birmingham City to be down there. I remember when John Eustace was there, they were sitting 5th or 6th in the table. Now John Eustace has flipped across to Blackburn, and they're in this relegation site. Two really good guys, friends of mine, obviously Gary Rowett and John Eustace. So they're fighting for their survival as managers and in Championship status. And obviously we've gradually slid down the table, and we find ourselves in this unfortunate position ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, if you can hear the noise dialing up here, of course, that is the home supporters cheering the players as they come out to begin their warm-up, which indicates kickoff is just a short while away. Little over 40 minutes until we get going here. Still plenty more to come here on Argyle TV, including a live chat with the owner, chairman Simon Hallett, who's just waiting in the wings here, signing some shirts with the fans. Match passes available, all of the details over on pafc.co.uk. Well, welcome back to the build-up here on Argyle TV, and as you can see here alongside me now, a man who knows this club inside out, Simon Hallett, the chairman, joins us live at pitchside. Simon, we've been talking about the nerves, we've been talking about the atmosphere. How are you feeling about this one?
I'm feeling really good at the moment, actually. I'm not very nervous, just having breakfast, pretty relaxed, but ask me in 40 minutes' time. That's when the nerves will really kick in.
Absolutely. You can feel it here in actually the stands as they're starting to fill up here at Home Park. Look, it's been an eventful season. Perhaps we didn't expect us to be here on this particular position. What have you made of Argyle's season so far? How will you reflect on it?
I think if we just reflect on how we've done in the league, I think we've done remarkably well, considering the budget, considering everything that happened. When I reflect on the things that went wrong, the things that we could have done better, there are some lessons here for the future, and I will be reflecting on those over the next few days, whatever happens here this afternoon.
Absolutely, and I mentioned atmosphere building up nicely here. Of course, we've got fans from all over the world watching here with us on Argyle TV. What would be your message to those that are watching overseas? We know the support is particularly vocal here, but also those two watching here on Argyle TV.
I just hope they enjoy the game half as much as we're going to enjoy it at Home Park. You know, I love the fact that we can watch on Argyle TV. I watch myself when I'm in the United States. But let's be fair. It's nothing like being here at Home Park. It's going to be fantastic here. So, you know, I wish they were here.
No, absolutely. Perhaps next season. And just thinking about that, look, we've been here before, and that can be an advantage. But also knowing that if the worst were to happen, this is a team that can bounce back, right? And is that something you're already, I'm assuming, planning for, you know, all contingencies?
Yeah, you know, in football, strange things happen in football. So you always have to build a club that's financially robust, can withstand any disaster. And I think we've been clearly doing that for the last 5 or 6 years. And you have, as you say, to plan for all contingencies. So we've got plans in place for the next 6 weeks. The recruitment season, hiring a new manager, and we will go in slightly different directions depending on what we know at 2:45 today.
Absolutely, and of course retaining our status at this league may well make some of those things easier for you and others in the sort of executive board here to do. Maybe a quick word just on what that would mean to this club particularly. So much of the planning has been around getting to this level, which we've done as a sustainable club, but we want to stay here, don't we?
Yeah, we've always said that sustainable means not just financially sustainable, but having a good probability of staying here. We've got a good probability of staying here, but, you know, frankly, I would like us to be competing slightly higher up in the league. And we've been very clear that that's our new ambition, to stay in the Championship and start competing in the top half.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe, I don't know how we're getting on with the search for the new manager. I'm sure that work is being done, and it's an item on your sort of in tray. Maybe a word in terms of, or an update for the fans on how that's all going?
Well, again, it's going. We're getting applications, we're filtering them. We're thinking about the changes we want to make to the criteria that we're looking for. But the real work will start after we know the result of today. It's going to be a different set of demands on a manager depending on which division we're in. If we're in the Championship, I think we'll get even more applicants than we would if we were in League One. So it will make it in some ways more difficult to select, but in some ways easier because we'll get, you know, more really good candidates.
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple more questions, if I may, Simon. I mean, we know this season has been particularly tight at the bottom end of the Championship. We saw the table actually just a few minutes ago. How much attention will you be paying to the other result today, Birmingham and Norwich?
I think, like everybody, I'm going to be looking at my phone as the game goes by. But I do hope that people won't spend too much time on their phones, including me, and that we spend most of the time cheering the team on. The crowd is going to be absolutely critical today, including this member of the crowd.
Pilgrim Pete.
Pilgrim Pete.
Everyone's got to play their part, right?
Everybody has to play their part, and I hope that the crowd will get behind the team in the same way they did at the last home game.
Yeah.
You know, whatever happens in the first half hour, this crowd needs to be, you know, giving out their everything throughout the game, and I'm sure they will.
Well, look, right on cue. You can hear them supporting. You can hear the cheers. Simon, thank you very much. We'll allow you to continue to enjoy the build-up here today. Hopefully those nerves won't be too bad for you.
Thanks, Alex. No, the nerves will kick in a little while.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. Well, look, there's one particular player out there in our starting lineup, a homegrown talent, Andon Randall. He knows what this all means. We caught up with him earlier in the week.
There's obviously a lot of tension behind it. I don't think there's a better place we could be playing it. We're obviously in front of our home fans who are going to be right behind us, which will help us all the way. And we know the support that they've already given us. That will continue to happen. And it's time for us to do what we're good at and put on a show and go and win the game.
As someone who has spent the majority of their life at this football club, someone who supports and supported this football club and obviously has been part of the rise to the Championship, how much does it mean to you personally to keep this football club in this division?
It means a lot to me. I think it's hard to sort of put into words what it means, because I'm always being told by people that I know how much it means to them. As you said, I've obviously grown up supporting the club, and back in the days of the Championship I was coming to watch. And I want to make sure that Argyle are always on the way up, always improving and always looking upwards. So in order to keep that going, I need to make sure that we stay in the Championship and that we don't drop down. I think for me personally, for my career as well, I want to make sure that I'm playing at Argyle in the Championship. And for my home life as well, I want people around me to be happy. I want people around me to know me as the Argyle player who's playing at Argyle when they're at their peak.
You mentioned there's no better place to be playing this final game with this much riding on it. And we've seen over so many years, and especially this season, how much the fans have supported the club, travelled the country and made noise and all of that sort of stuff. But a game of football is 11 versus 11. So how much are the rest of the team, the rest of the players on that same wavelength with you to make sure that you guys get the job done?
Yeah, we need to focus on what it is rather than what it might get built up to be. I think myself included, I need to realise that it's a game of football. It's 90 minutes of football, which isn't a lot at the end of the day. It's 90 minutes over a whole season. Think how many 90 minutes we've played already. Each one's just as important as the last, and this one's going to be a very important one. So we need to make sure that we're right on it, and we give absolutely everything we can for 90 minutes of that football match and the rest.
Really difficult question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
You've got a crystal ball in front of you. You can see the future.
Yep.
At 3 o'clock on Saturday, what can you see in that crystal ball?
I see myself with my family, my girlfriend, walking around the pitch, smiles on everyone's faces, everyone happy in that stadium, singing songs and enjoying staying up.
Randall there speaking to Argyle TV in the build-up to this one earlier in the week, and you can see him and the rest of the Argyle squad being put through their paces here in the sunshine at Home Park as the countdown to kick-off continues. It can certainly feel the heat stepping up and the atmosphere building, but just a quick word, Mark, on Adam Randall. His development this season really matured in the middle of that park, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's had a great season. He really has. Obviously when Foster come in, had to prove his point again, and that's the thing with rotation of managers, Alex. You've got to prove to the new manager what you're worth. I fully understand Foster brought his own players in. The manager's going to do that. Like Devine came in, and other players have come in that midfield area, but he fought his way back in, and now he's probably one of the first on the team sheet. He's really got that aggressiveness about him, and he can score goals as well.
He can. Well, we saw that. In fact, he scored in the reverse fixture away at Hull earlier in the season, but he's popped up with some important moments. So we were talking about the Stoke winner here at Home Park in the depths of the sort of winter months, but here today, I mean, what are you expecting to see from him in the middle of the midfield?
Well, I think he knows, he's from the academy, obviously he's a local boy, and the chairman who just, obviously Son Haller, who just come on, would love a team full of local talent, but that just doesn't happen. So when someone does come through, a local talent, and commands the midfield like he's doing, his aggressiveness, hopefully he'll pop up with a goal today, that'd be nice, but he knows what's at stake for sure.
Absolutely. And is there an element, I mean, the fans are always, attached to their local heroes. especially when they are coming through the academy, like players like Randall and Cooper as well, of course, in goal. Does it mean more to a player to want to come out and wear that shirt?
I think it does, yeah, and you're playing in front of your own, if you're born in this city, your own fans. And I said before, they're like the 12th man, fantastic support, they pay their good money home and away, and they know when players mean it and wear their heart on their sleeves and, put some sweat on the jersey, and that's certainly what they're going to have to do this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly, and also another thing Hallett was talking about just a few moments ago here on Argyle TV was the importance of the home crowd today. Look, it almost becomes something we hear most weeks, because Argyle support home and away is tremendous. We can see the fans actually just packing up already into their seats. What difference are they going to make for these boys today?
Yeah, huge. I think we've seen that in the Leicester game, didn't we? Really, Leicester had their chances, but the fans really got them over the line with that fantastic 1-0 victory and that vital 3 points, which we certainly needed. So I think we're going to hear lots of incidences in the crowd this afternoon. There's going to be lots of highs and lows, hopefully more highs, because the lows meaning if we give away possession or Hull have an attack, but they're going to play a massive part to play, and obviously I'm sure their radios and their mobile phones will be glued into what's happening elsewhere, and I'm sure we're going to hear certainly if results go for us elsewhere as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a question I was going to ask you a little bit earlier when we were looking at that table. Birmingham play Norwich today. We know that's a game where, depending on that result, we don't necessarily have to win here today. But look, as you've been in those dressing rooms on games like this, are you even thinking about a result at Birmingham today? Is it just about getting the job done here?
Yeah, I think you can't afford to do that, Alex. You can't, as I said before, you can't rely on other teams. You've got to just take care of your own business, and that's today's beating Hull City. Because if Birmingham go on and win, and we lose the game, the destiny's in our own hands for sure, and that's what we're going to make sure we do here this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you can hear again the noise dialing up in here, I believe we're seeing some of the Argyle youth players or from the academy, the latest line of a talent, parading some of their trophies and silverware from this season. It looks good for the future, doesn't it?
It does, and they've had a great season, haven't they, to win both leagues. Just as credit to them. There's some real young talent there, and obviously they've had their decisions on their future as well. Lots of emotions there because there is some real talent that's been let go, and they've got to prove they can do it elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, the build-up is continuing here on Argyle TV. Still much more to look forward to. You can follow all of the action, of course. Match passes available now. Head on over to pafc.co.uk for all of the details. Keep watching for more build-up.
'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I could fly. Can't you feel my heart beat fast? I want this to last. Need you by my side. 'Cause every time we touch, I feel the static, and every time we kiss, I reach for the sky. Can't you hear my heart beat so I can't let you go? Want you in my life.
Now, we know that this game is massive for Argyle, of course, but it means something to Hull City too. They come here today knowing that if they win and other results go their way, they may well secure a place in the playoffs. They've been impressive form in April, and as I say, if they win and West Brom or Norwich lose, then they will make the playoffs. Their head coach, Liam Rosenior, has done a fantastic job, up for an award in fact for April, and he was talking all about the significance of coming here today and going for the win.
Same as the other 45. Need a consistent process. You need to believe in, trust in the way that you work, and you hope that all of those things that add up in a really positive performance first, and then the result afterwards.
Can you believe it's kind of 9 months of hard work, sweat, tears, all rolled into one, and it could be the last game or it could be the start of the playoffs. You see, there's so much riding on it. It's incredible, isn't it?
That's the beauty of life. It's not just football. You never know what's around the corner. If you'd have said to me 18 months ago that I was going to end up being manager of this football club, I wouldn't have believed you. And here I am, and now we're on the verge of still with a possibility of doing something special in my first full year here as a manager. That's a great accomplishment from everyone. For what Ajin and Tan have done, transform the club. I hope I played my small part in that as well. And the players, they're just a joy to work with, Baz. Today it's hard, isn't it? Because you don't know if it's going to be your last Thursday. We work certain days. Thursday is always certain day in training, Friday's a certain day. And I was looking out today, I was just praying, I said, God, please don't be our last Thursday. You know, because I enjoy the company of this group so much, you know, and that has to be the motivation for us, is to stick together for as long as possible and play every game like it's not going to be our last, and we have to do that on Saturday. I've missed out on promotion by a goal. Like 1 goal. I was at Brighton, we missed out. We played Middlesbrough last game of the season, we missed out on goal difference by 1 goal. You know, and it's trying, you've got to educate your players in a way that they learn, but the only way you learn in life is to do. And it was amazing to hear Greavesy speak after he won his award. He said something really, really interesting to me as his coach. He said, now I understand. Now I understand how important it is for every moment and every detail in what we do, and how important your points total is at the end. But the only way that he can learn that as a 22, 23-year-old is to live it. I have loads of respect for Neil, I have loads of respect for Plymouth. They're a really traditional football club. They've got a great fan base down there. The atmosphere is going to be rocking. They've done some really good work in the last few years, how they've built that club. But whether we were playing Plymouth, whether we were playing anybody else in this league, the reason it's so close is that this league is so difficult, you know, and we just have to focus on, can we perform at our best level? We prepare for them like we do every game, but we just have to go and perform and see what happens from that.
And that was the Hull boss, Liam Rosenior, speaking to the press as part of the build-up for this one here today. Mark, we spoke about this, I think, a little bit earlier on, but does the fact that Hull City have something to play for today make a difference to the match? I mean, this isn't just a dead rubber, is it, for them? Yeah, huge game. Sometimes you think end of season, teams have got nothing to play for and they're harder to beat. But Hull, if you look at their recent form, as I said, 14 goals in the last 6 games. They score goals and their away form has been magnificent. I think the last game when they played against Ipswich, that 3-3 was obviously live on Sky. It was a magnificent game to watch. You know, Liam Rosenior's really got them firing. He's a good young manager. I remember his days at Derby with Wayne Rooney, and he had a wonderful playing career as well. His detail, his professionalism, you can see in that whole side as he conducts himself. And I think they've got a fantastic young manager there. I was going to ask you about him. He comes across obviously really well, very detail orientated, as you say, cut his teeth at Derby. This is his first sort of permanent role, but he's really taken it and obviously working wonders with the whole team that he's got at his disposal. What's maybe impressed you the most about the way he approaches his matches, the style of play he's implemented? Well, I think it's just they're very attacking wise, and they don't really take that many risk. And you know, I think his detail is his personality, his man management as well. Each player is respected. I know that's normally happens throughout, but you'd be amazed that doesn't happen at a lot of clubs. You know, you pick your 11, and I know there's 9 on the bench now, but he really spends time, and his detail obviously it's been rewarded by the way they come here the last game of the season with a chance to get into the playoffs, which will be magnificent, really. Well, I hope that doesn't happen, of course, but I'm on about his achievements maybe in the future. It's going to be, you know, he's going to be a very good manager. Yeah, well, of course, and he's up for the award, as I mentioned, I think Manager of the Month nomination for April, as is Carvalho from a playing point of view with his goal returns. You know, they've really hit their stride, haven't they, particularly in the last sort of 6 weeks. Some of their performances have really been impressive. Well, they have, and I think it just goes to show that the goals we're talking about, and those 6 games, those 14 goals, you know, that's firepower, isn't it? Home and away, they just score goals. They're a real threat, unbeaten in the last 5. 9 points from 15. You know, you always say you get a team that times it right in the playoffs, don't you? They come from late, they have a real good surge, and they're certainly doing that. But they know they're up. You know, look, Argyle going to be a tough to beat this afternoon. We know what they're capable of doing here at Home Park. We've seen it so many times. And they've got to really repeat that this afternoon because they can't rely on other results. No, exactly. Well, I'm actually what I'm going to allude to next, because just like Argyle, of course, a win won't necessarily be enough for Hull today to make it into the playoffs. They are also looking at other results. I think you've got it here. If they win, West Brom lose, then of course they'll be in the playoffs. But goal difference is a factor for Hull. If you look at the table, if you look at where they are, I think they're on 9 goal difference at the moment, which is significantly lower than those above them. So they don't just have to come here and win. They actually need to come here and score goals. Yeah, they need goals as well, which, like you said before at the start of the show, Alex, it could be a very open game. Yeah. You know, at times when players have come open and teams have been open against Argyle, you know, we've really took it to them and gone on to win the game. And it's been an exciting game here at Home Park. I think it's going to be one of them today. I don't think it's going to be nerve-wracking. I think you're going to see both sides really going for it. Yeah. So that's going to be great for the supporters. But, yeah, West Brom have got to find a win today. I think they've lost their last 3. Their form has been poor towards the
the end of the season, whereas Hull are striving to get in. It's whether they've left it just too late or how they're going to have enough, and that would be dictated after 90 minutes.
Absolutely. And to what extent, I mean, I know this might counter the point you just made regarding form and what they're carrying into the game, but on a last day, final day of the season, stranger things have happened. Strange things do happen on final. I mean, you've been there. So to what extent, can teams truly carry form in when so much is at stake?
Well, I think they've just got to believe in themselves. They really have, and they look at, again, they look at what they've done over the course of the season. But Hull are in great form. We can't take that fact away. They're in really good form, and they're coming in to win the game. Argyle have been, it's been a difficult time, obviously, with Foster leaving. Neil's come in with Kevin to try to steady the ship. Unfortunately, they lost at Millwall, but they had a fantastic result here against Leicester, beating Leicester here was a magnificent game. They're going to have to repeat something like that today, purely because, Alex, they can't rely on other teams.
No, absolutely not. Well, over my shoulder, I'm aware that we can see some of the players perhaps in the final throws of the warm-up. One particular player, Morgan Whittaker. And we mentioned this, didn't we, earlier on, but 50th appearance for him in an Argyle shirt this season. That's a lot of games at this level. And if he scores today, that's 20 league goals. So this could be a big moment for him.
Yeah, it is a big moment for Morgan. I think he's had a really great season. There's been some really highs for him. He's been frustrated in the last few games, as we talked about Ryan Hardy as well. They've lacked a little bit of form. They've got frustrated with the results. But big games like this, you need big players to react. And he is a big player. He's scored some fantastic goals here at Home Park. He really has. And he could get his 20th goal this season. That's a wonderful return.
It'd certainly get these fans up on their feet, wouldn't it, cheering. As you can hear, the noise is continuing to ramp up here on Argyle TV. Coming up next, it's our final bit of build-up. Right then, let's take a look then, shall we, and just remind ourselves of the team news this afternoon. As you can hear, the fans are really getting behind their Argyle players today. They are right behind us here. We're trying to keep an eye out for some stray footballs as well. But let's take a quick look at that lineup today. 2 changes from the defeat on the road at Millwall. Ryan Hardy is restored. Alfie Devine is recalled to the starting lineup. We talked about this earlier, didn't we, Mark? But it looks like we're putting out a team there full of attacking intent. Yeah,
I think we've just had a little taste of what's going to come here, Alex, with the fans there this afternoon, and we're going to need that. But as we said, a really attacking lineup. 2 changes. Devine comes in with Hardy. Devine's going to be attacking. We've seen him get forward. Hardy, we know he can run in behind and really cause problems. He needs to be at his best today, because I think Hardy needs to, maybe get another go under his belt. So 2 changes made by the side this afternoon.
Yeah. And just looking at it objectively, were there any perhaps changes you expected to see or any further, or is this a team you can back today to get out there and do the job?
Well, Houghton's obviously been injured or just coming back, and I would have thought if he was fit, he would have started with his experience in the middle of that midfield. But they certainly got him in a real attacking lineup.
Absolutely. You can hear the support, can't you? It's absolutely bubbling here at Home Park, and we've still got 15 minutes until kick-off. The warm-ups, I think, are just about to wrap up as the players trudge off the pitch. Perhaps let's take a quick look, shall we, then, and remind ourselves of how the opposition today will line up here at Home Park. Hull City are the visitors. They've got 1 change from their lineup last against Ipswich Town. That was a entertaining 3-3 game. Liam Delap is restored to the starting lineup. Maybe a final comment on them, really, just before we return to discuss Argyle and their chances today. But we know it's a team of serious pedigree. They've got a young up-and-coming manager, as we've discussed. How do we stop this team from playing their style of play?
Well, simple as that, Axe. We've got to match them. We've got to match them in every department, physically, tackle-wise. We know they're a goal-scoring threat, and they've got a number of players who can pop up and score those goals. So concentration is key for me. Concentrate for 90-plus minutes, and if we do that and we get our chances, hopefully we'll go on and win the game.
Absolutely. Perhaps we can also talk about Joe Edwards as a player that's in the starting lineup today, captaining the team. We talked about Adam Randall and the importance that a local talent brings, but Joe Edwards feels as important to this team as ever. I mean, he's been through it. He represents green and white. I mean, he almost bleeds green and white, doesn't he, when he's out there? Some perhaps surprised that he was in the lineup today, given, he's not perhaps looked as quick or maybe a bit leggy against some of the faster wingers and the tricky wingers we see at this level. But just how important is it having someone with that experience and mentality to sort of, captain this team today and drive them forward? Yeah,
well, probably Joe, he is in the probably twilight of his career, but what he's got is that passion. He has the armband with pride, and, he'll be organising things. He'll be in the dressing room dictating players how important this game is. And obviously the experience he's got. He brings experience. There is some young players in this side. We talked about Whittaker. We talked about Randall. Helping them through their games. Whether you play 60, 70 minutes, show the passion that Joe Edwards brings. And he's going to be vital this afternoon. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm expecting it to be a routine, the trusted formation with the three at the back that we typically go for. There was some discussion last week when we had a slightly tinkered lineup that we might have four. But I think the conversation really today surely would have been about let's go back to basics, the tried and tested, what we do best. This isn't a game necessarily to experiment for either side, is it? No, we can't sit back and expect things to happen. We've got to take the game to them. We've got to start well. And I think every time we have been here at Home Park, that momentum has been with us at times because we've really had a good start. We really have, and we've got to do that. We can't sit back and allow Hull to get on top of us because we know what a threat they are. So really got to start the game with that high tempo, really take the game to Hull City. Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about the crowd, the support that we get from this side of the stadium, but somewhere over the other side, there's 1,700 in orange and black today, and they've certainly bringing some noise. We saw a lot of them in the fancy dress beforehand. They're going to be doing a job today as well, because equally this means something to them who've travelled all the way down. Yeah, as we said before, this is what you train for, Alex. I know it's the end of season game, but full house at Home Park, passion's going to be there, and this is what you say. This is going to be a fantastic atmosphere here. And I really hope it's going to be a game to warrant that. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mark, I always feel it's a bit of an unfair question when it comes to a prediction. It's a final game of the season. It means everything, and there's results to consider elsewhere. But if I was to maybe push you to maybe park the emotion and give us a prediction based on everything we've talked about here today, who are you backing? Where are you going? It's such a tough one. It really is, because you've got, as you said, Hull City coming here full of goals. We know what Argyle can do here at Home Park throughout the season. They've shown that against Norwich, against Leicester, even the Coventry game, which we mentioned. It was such a great game. I really am going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go for a high-scoring draw. Really? Really? Yeah, I really think that is. I think there's going to be goals from Hull and Argyle. So I hope that's enough to keep us up, and I'm sure it will, because I think Norwich will do us a favour at Birmingham. But that's why I think it's going to happen. I was going to say, you mentioned Norwich may well be able to do us a favour today. We'll have one eye on that, and we'll of course bring all of the latest scores at half-time when we're back out on here, hopefully to reflect on a good first half performance. But can you maybe see Norwich doing a job at Birmingham as well on our behalf? Well, I think again they've got to. They've got to make sure they secure that playoff as well. West Brom have got to do it as well. So there's a lot going on today. There's a lot at stake for the last game of the season, which is exciting. But I think when you reflect over the season, Alex, those 46 games I talked about, it doesn't lie at the end of the season. When that table comes out and it finishes, that's really where you deserve to be. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just bring you perhaps a quick look at how other sides line up this afternoon. On screen now for you, all of the championship fixtures today all kick off at the same time, 12:30 from all around the grounds. The game perhaps of most significance to us, the one that we've discussed here today, Birmingham at home to Norwich. We'll be keeping one eye on that, but elsewhere, of course, you can see all the other games that are unfolding today, and we'll bring you everything that is happening around there at half time. Of course, we've talked about it at length, haven't we? But maybe a final comment from you, really, in terms of what this team needs to do and what we can expect to see from them. Well, I think, Alex, it's now all the preparation's been done. We've seen them warm up. We've seen the crowd coming in now. There's a lot of nerves. There's a lot of expectation. It's business now. It's down to business. All the training, all the hard work. They know what's at stake. We've got to go out and win the game. Yeah, absolutely. It's all to play for here. Then on Argyle TV, we have just over 10 minutes until kickoff. And if you haven't yet, don't forget, match passes are still available today. You can watch from wherever you are, joining us here today with streaming passes. All the details available on pafc.co.uk. You do not want to miss this. The final game of the Sky Bet Championship, Argyle against Hull City.
is up next.